I know you're wondering how a guy like me could end up in a place like this. I worked at the glass bottle factory, back when people still used glass bottles for everything instead of as a novelty. 47 years, I worked there. First as a hired hand, carrying boxes of bottles around, and then as the supervisor. I was real good at it too. I loved the job. I never missed a single day in those 27 years. And then one day, April the 2nd, they called me into the office. They told me how pleased they were with my performance, how impressed they were with my output and safety record. Not one injury in over 6 years, and how sad they were to let me go. Well, some words were said, and despite my logic and rhetoric, the egregious decision to downsize me was made. Naturally. Now, I was vaguely upset at this point, so I went on a real binge and stayed the night at my friend's house, 'cause I didn't want my family to see me like this. I came home the next day round 11 o'clock, only to find my son at home, in his room, with a marijuana plant in his closet. I never would have guessed that his high-powered lamp would be used to commit a crime. "Son," I shouted, "what the hell is wrong with you?" He peered over his Sports Illustrated at me and replied,
"Hey, Dad, how are you doing?"
Well, I was right piping mad at this point, so I ripped his magazine out of his hands and shouted some more, "How dare you poison this house with wacky tobacco?" My son finally stood up. He looked me in the eye. I'll never forget this, and he stated,
"Dad, I know you're not impressed, but I made $600 this week just selling this disgusting reefer madness. Just think, if we team up with your capital and my know-how, we could make a lot of money."
I thought about it for a few seconds. I had just lost my job. I was too old to learn a new set of skills, or even get hired. I was only a few years away from retirement, and I didn't have a proper 401k set up. We bought all the things we needed: grow lamps, hydroponic stuff, piping, stuff I don't know much about, frankly, and we set it up in a storage facility. I got the idea from the movie Primer, so I hoped it would work out. It took a few months, but we were able to break even, and then break a little more than even. With my knowledge of conveyor belts and optimal factory setup and his knowledge of degenerate criminal activity, we were making a fortune. Until one day, it all came crashing down. It was a regular Tuesday. I was driving to the storage facility when I saw someone in my rearview mirror. I started to watch him. I turned right. He turned right. I turned left. He turned left. It didn't seem like there was anything I could do. Finally, the lights came on. I didn't know what to do. The second I saw the red and blue, I remembered that I had left a sample in my car in the glove compartment. I decided that I had nothing more to lose and a lot to gain, so I slammed down the gas. I hit 150 kph in no time in my candy orange 2012 Lamborghini Aventador. Though I had purchased in this beautiful work of art, it slipped my mind to invest in high-speed and stunt driving lessons. I plowed straight into the roadblock that the police had set up, while the helicopter crews filmed my crash to replay on Fox News that evening. They pulled me from my once beautiful car. They searched me. They searched my car. They searched my home. They searched the storage facility. They found everything. I was brought to the hospital, where I stayed until my trial. I knew that there was nothing I could do to get off, except trade in my son. My lawyers said I was looking at 40 years for the grow-up, and then Another 5 for the resisting arrest and mayhem that resulted from my daring escape. I knew I couldn't do that to him. I should have been a better parent. I shouldn't have focused so much on the money. And that's the story about how I wound up in the big house.